the process of getting media attention. Candidates have to fill out, if they spend over $5,000, a Federal Election Commission financial report, so to speak, and it goes in quarterly and it can be tracked by the media. Now, in this election, I didn't fill out those forms because I'm self-funding my candidacy and I have my own offices, my own volunteers. But now I'm going to fill out that candidacy form because it's important for you to see what I'm spending. But it shouldn't have to be that way anyway. It should be the candidate. And is he qualified? And it's up to the people of Florida to decide, the voters, who is qualified in their minds to be the best senator to represent them. I find it strange that two congressmen that were running for the Senate bailed out when Marco Rubio decided to change his mind again and come back into the Senate race. It's unbelievable. Those reports that were sent in by those congressmen, it's not for me to say whether they were accurate or not. But what I will tell you is that there's been influence by Mitch McConnell in the election in Florida. The voters of Florida decide who should go to Washington to represent you, not Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell was only interested in one thing, to make sure that the Republicans kept control of the Senate. Okay, that's a good idea. But why would you pick Marco Rubio? Why would you think that he would be the one that the people of Florida would send back to Washington? Did you explore the other candidates, Mr. McConnell? No, you didn't. But the people of Florida have a right to decide who goes to Washington. I hope that they will look at all of the candidates. I'm not asking for anybody's vote today. I'm asking for you to let me get on that debate stage where they don't want me. The Republican Party could care less about you seeing me on that debate stage. But it's your right to hear from me on that debate stage. It's your right to decide who you're going to send for the next 6 years to Washington. Look at the Congress the way it is right now, the problems that we have. I don't want to go through a whole litany of the issues, but let's go through a few of them. The debt, $19 trillion and climbing. The borders are not secured. We have a foreign policy that's an absolute wreck. We have problems within our own country, from jobs to the banking system. I've been in the banking system for 35 years. I understand Frank Dodd. I understand what it takes to create jobs. I understand the problems that we're having in this country. But the current Congress, Mr. McConnell, the Republican leader, what responsibility does he want to take for any of this? Does he want to take any responsibility for the problems that this country has? In fairness to him, I'll be charitable. How about all the other candidates that are running for re-election? It's unbelievable and frustrating to me that the people continue to vote in the same people over and over and over again. And we're stuck with expanding problems. What happened in Dallas yesterday, as far as I'm concerned, it should be the straw that breaks the camel's back. The American people are great people. The Congress is one of the greatest body in the world for freedom, justice, liberty for all people. If Ronald Reagan were alive today, this party would never be in the condition that it's in. I don't just blame the Republican Party. The Democratic Party is no better. I really hope that you will look at what happened in Dallas, Texas yesterday and understand the responsibility that you have Because, yes, I'm telling you that. I'm not talking to you now as a senatorial candidate. I'm talking to you as an American. Whether I go to the Senate or I don't go to the Senate, you have a responsibility to work with each other. You have a responsibility to put your own agendas aside. You have a responsibility to the American people to do your job every single day, selflessly. And don't put your agendas in front of the people's business. I asked you to look at Dallas, Texas yesterday. Look at Minnesota. Look at Baltimore, Maryland. Look at Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Look at Orlando, Florida. Look at what has been happening to this country. Look at the debt. Look at the foreign policy. Look at gun control. Look at Social Security. Look at the people that are unemployed. Look at health insurance, pre-existing conditions. Look at all of the issues. I have a list in my campaign offices from student loans, people coming out of college that can't get a loan to open up a business. I have the Frank Dodd Act sitting over here. I have elderly abuse issues. We have the war on drugs. There's no policy on the war on drugs right now. We have 200,000 people plus dying in this country from overdose of drugs. 80% of the drugs are coming in from Mexico. The Mexican people are wonderful people, but we have to reach out to the Mexican government to get help with this border. We have to have the strongest borders in the world. And there's no problem with a wall, but it takes time to build it. So we have to have intelligence. We have to have our own military get involved if necessary. And we have to get help from the Mexican government. We have other things on the list. Naturally, we have to have the strongest military in the world. We have the veterans that we have to take care of. Without that, I would not be giving you this speech. All veterans, past, present, and future, have to be taken care of. And we're waiting and waiting. The FBI, they had the Orlando killer in their custody twice. Twice. How many more people do they had in custody that are now still not in custody? The FBI director should resign. There should be a special commission appointed to look into the FBI, how they handle terrorist tips and the situations that they handled with the killer in Orlando. We can look at the Second Amendment. That issue has to be addressed. Of course, we have to back up the Second Amendment, but there are issues surrounding it that Congress still has to deal with. We have the Marchman Act in Florida, which is a fantastic way to put a person involuntarily that's going to die most likely from drug overdose. The Marchman Act is an unbelievable act that Florida has. The Florida legislature passed that act, and you can look into it. That should be expanded. Our environment is important to the people of this country. There's numerous issues that I can go on and on about. Am I frustrated? Yeah, I'm frustrated, just like the American people are frustrated. But we have to keep our eye, as we always have in history. We can get through all of these problems in America. But it's up to the people elected to Congress to work together. Arnold Schwarzenegger said months ago that his success in California as the governor of California is that he worked with the other side of the aisle. All public servants serving in the federal government and the state governments, they work together. Why can't the Congress finally understand that this is not a game of who wins, who loses? You have to work together. Doesn't mean giving up everything that you are passionate about, but you have to work together. It's the only way that we're going to get through these problems. I'm going to be giving additional speeches over the next 60 days. If I don't get media coverage, I'll never make it to the debate floor with Marco Rubio. But I will say this, I will not quit. I will run all the way till November 8th, 2016. And it doesn't matter whether I get one vote. If this video has shaken anybody up, if it's made anybody think twice, especially the people in Congress, then that's what is important. That's what's important. Thank you. God bless the people of Florida, and God bless the American people, and God bless all people that serve in Congress, the federal government, and state government, local governments. Good night.